Welcome back to the Insiders podcast. It's Matt here, and we are joined by two special guests tonight. This is a special episode about a boat trip and two people who have recently been on one. And it's also inspired the idea that maybe next year you'll see an Insiders boat trip. Drop a DM into us on Instagram if you're keen for that as well. But here we are, two special guests, me and Daz, four of us, talking about boat trips and everything else surfing. Enjoy.
How's your weekend?
Really good, thanks. Yeah, just been yesterday. The weather was bad, but the surf was good. So
Oh,
game.
nice.
So yeah, surfed twice yesterday, twice today, and then
Wow.
yeah, and today I got in between surfs, like kind of finishing off building a bed in the back of my van. So pretty productive as well. So
Mate, I'm always impressed with how much you surf. It's fucking great.
oh yeah, I try like and. I think it helps that like I at the moment haven't forgotten how bad it was where I was. So
That's good.
I'm just like taking it um as I get it kind of thing. Like even today, like most people I think around here would have been a little bit like, nah, can't be asked kind of thing. And I was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm on, it's empty, like, but yeah.
It's funny how quick that happened. Or not how quick, but like it can creep up on you pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, in ways it has. Like there's been a
hmm
few days where I'm like, nah, not happening kind of thing
Yeah, yeah.
and stuff, but then I kind of quickly remind myself or I'll speak to
That's
someone
good.
from like
That's
where I
good.
was living and be like, oh wait, I need to go
That's
surf.
good. Yeah, that's good. Watch out, Bram's here.
I
Watch
feel
out.
like I'm
What's here first?
I feel like I'm missing out here. Like I need to join.
What? Missing out on what?
There you go.
Oh, mate, a fucking full
See?
team. Look at us, mate. We're a
Oh, shit.
bunch of victims. Bunch of victims.
The target audience are signing in.
Mate, I tell you what, Matt, on the fucking boat trip, that's one thing I saw. Like, and I talk about this all the time in marketing, right? Because people who don't really understand marketing, they're like, should you market to your muse or to, the actual customer? And I'm like, you always have to target the muse and know that the customer will buy. Like in the Maldives, every fucking idiot, us included, head to toe in
Yeah.
Florence. Like every wave pool Charlie was there with his fucking Florence outfit. It's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
it works.
funny.
It works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it shows like, especially with Nathan Lawrence, he's like surfing those waves constantly, bigging up how he doesn't get sunburn and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Well,
Good.
it's also you kind of feel you're giving money to a personal brand. You feel like I'm putting this guy in these waves, basically. Like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
buying this hat for him.
yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit. And to be honest, boys, I'm gonna just keep this all in because even part
Oh,
of
you
it,
are? Oh, God, here we go.
yeah, no, we can. I always make it funnier because even part of it, like, so I got a couple of years ago now, I got selected to be one of the Florence test pilots for like what they
Oh,
do
test
for their
pilot.
monthly thing. And it 100% makes you feel part of like semi part of like something.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's genius marketing.
Oh, they're
But
doing it really well. Like their membership model and all the rest of it is really good. And the product's great as well.
yeah. I was about to say, and that's the other side of it is it is good marketing and they're doing it well, and like a lot of people are wearing it, but they back it up. Like it is good product.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah, it really works. Like, if you're there like 6, 7 hours in the sun with that shirt, you're winning. It's crazy. Like you don't burn, it just works. Like it's comfortable.
yeah.
That's it.
So for anyone just listening, and there would have been a little intro. I asked my good pals Jonathan and Bram to come on and chat because for the last 3, maybe 4 weeks now, I've had incredible envy on a trip that these guys got very luckily able to go on, and I thought, I want to get the lowdown, and I felt like it would be good for some of our listeners. People might be planning a trip next year, maybe me, and hear about it. So tell me firstly, boys, where did you go?
So we went to we flew to Mali, but then we went down to the central atolls. So there's quite a lot of boat trips that you'll fly to Mali, which is in the North Atolls of the Maldives, and then you'll kind of stick around like 7 or 8 breaks within like a sort of hour and a half kind of boat ride. But the one we went on, we went all the way down to Central, and so I think we sailed, like, if you were to combine it, it's probably like 12 to 15 hours south. And so we ended up like a long way away from most people. It was like really good. You got to surf on your own for quite a lot.
There's also like no land camps there, like 0 land camps. If you stay around like the airport, you have a lot of people that go to the land camp for like 10 days. So if you got like combine boats and land camps, it's like a proper lineup. But if you just sail straight away south where there's no camps or nothing, it's just you against the boats and there's so much space. It's ridiculous. Really crazy.
And so you stayed on the boat, like sleep on the boat, eat on the boat, everything on the boat.
Yeah. Zero land time. Zero.
Yeah. I did a trip a while ago and we stayed at Lohis for 2 days before, but this one literally is like, you haven't been there yet, Matt, but you land and then it's mad because you fly in and there's just tiny islands everywhere, and then you land and then there is a little road, but there's not many cars, and then there's just boats whizzing everywhere, and then it's like, which boat are you getting on? And then you get on a boat and then you stay on it for 10 days, and was it 10 or 11 days? And they have a great crew. They have like 3 meals a day, snacks, beers, whatever else you might need. And they do an amazing job of making sure that they shop enough for 10 days, like in pretty remote locations. And so you have your sort of breakfast, lunch, dinner all made for you. It's pretty amazing. Watch out, we got royalty in the house, I see.
Yeah, so I think
Good evening.
Here we go.
Here
Oh,
he is.
good.
I'm
So-
good. I've got I've got a village festival across the road from my house in the park.
Oh,
So I was just over there having a sneaky beer, and I kept checking my WhatsApp, and my wife said, "Stop looking on your phone." You know how they can be. Not they, but friends. And all good. Good evening.
Evening, Dad. So
good evening.
to catch up, Dad, we was just chatting about the trip that the boys just been on, and they just said like they kind of, they got on a plane, flew into the Maldives, and then
Maldives, yeah.
yeah, then like 12 to 15 hour boat ride south, so they were central atolls.
Did I get the wrong memo? Because Matthew told me that it was the Mentawais. It was the Maldives.
No, this is a lot more gentleman's pace that we went at. A lot more gentlemanly than that.
Okay, I didn't get the memo for the Florence machine hat either, and I've got one somewhere, and I feel a bit left out actually.
That's exactly what I done, Dad. I came on without mine and went and got it. But
Thank God I was wearing it. Yeah.
So where you went to on your trip, was there any like famous spots that you got to surf, or is it a little bit more like low key and that's why it was a bit more empty for you guys?
I don't know if they'd be known as famous spots. I mean,
they're on the map.
Yeah, they're on the map. I mean, there's a place we surf for a good few days.
Whose map?
The Maldives map. They make a proper like surfing map of all the spots. So in the end, we're not exposing anything, but yeah.
But it was southern atolls then.
Central.
Central.
So because I think if you wanted to go all the way, if you wanted to surf the southern ones, I think you'd have to fly down there. But this was sort of boat ride down like 12 hours or something. And because of that, we saw a couple of boats on the last day, but I think from the 10 days we were surfing, I think we had like 8 days where it was just our boat.
Wow.
So we managed to surf on our own. It was really good. It was with a group called Renegade. So there's a guy here, Dale, who's got a business, and he's had a trip going down there for a few years. They have camps all summer long. Yeah, and so they have a boat which the crew are also happy to sail at night a little bit. So quite a lot of the boats they won't sail when it's dark, but this crew they would start like sort of 4 a.m, so you could get a head start to get to places, which was good.
Was that somewhat surreal, surfing by yourself and not seeing other boats turn up?
Couldn't, my brain couldn't believe it. Like literally, like meltdown. Like we would like surf Donny in the morning, and then breakfast, then another session, and then like lunch, and then they were like free time from like 1 till 4 for the sunset. But then you're like anchored before like a spot that is just like going off, and then the coach is like, and they want to go surfing. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, like I can't be in the sun anyway, like give me a lycra and a hat and I'll be in the water. Like just crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
insane.
I'd say going on a trip like this, when you go on a trip with someone like He-Man here, who has sort of ADHD and a body built of pure muscle, it certainly helps. He can probably surf like every hour the sun's up. So yeah, and it is crazy because when you sit there and you see perfect waves rolling in, you kind of feel guilty straight away. You're like, fuck, come on, we should be back out there.
As we did.
But how long were you surfing a day?
Most days we did probably about 6 hours, but my Apple Watch ran out of it, gave up the ghost halfway through, but Bram's got the statistics for you. So
yeah, let's hear
it. It was an average of 8 hours a day. So like, and in total I had 317 waves over the whole trip. So like,
317. What would that cost you, Matt, in Bristol?
what is it? So 317, and I think Bristol's like 14 waves a session, say. So that's 22 and a half sessions times 60.
20, 25 sessions.
£1,400.
Yeah,
and I think
add a bit of value for warm water and good food on the side.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think one good Maldives wave might be worth more per wave than a cold water city wave pool.
Like literally, the only thing you have to focus on is just staying hydrated. Like there's so much good food on the boat. Like everything is taken care of. Like it's unreal. You put a bottle of water on the dinghy and it just can bring it. Just sit there.
But I think you guys might have mentioned it before, the cost of going to like Kelly's wave pool, because someone offered me a chance to go there when we lived in the US, and I think it was like $5,000 for 10 waves.
Yeah, and
then obviously you do get surf a perfect wave and all the rest of it, but you don't get any of the other experience. You're in whatever Central California.
Yeah, and you've got like some big industrial train running and some fence, and you've got Raymana trying to just like headlock someone else into a barrel.
This young guy came into my cafe. When was that? It must have been, let's say, 6 weeks ago or longer. And we'd had like about a month without waves, and then we got a really good day. And he'd surfed 3 hours, and he came in and like I think he drank 2 liters of water, and then a Coke. And he was saying to me, because he does CrossFit. He's a fit kid, like really fit. And he was like, but this is one of the only sports where you don't hydrate while you're actually doing it. So then did you go back to the boat to drink? Or do you just, if it's that good, you just still can't force yourself to do that?
Like there's always a bottle of water with electrolytes on the boat. And then Johnny had a little protein bar in the back pocket.
Yeah, so we had the main boat where you sleep, then we had the Donny, and the Donny's like the one where you store your boards and all the rest of it. And so on there, we definitely kept like water, protein bars, like whatever else. And then we had like the little dinghy. So there was a couple of times where I may have caught a wave, sneaked back to the Donny, stopped for a Coke Zero, little protein bar into the back pocket of the Rashi, and then got a lift back to the top of the lineup, but only twice. But again, this was a gentleman's trip, though.
But there's no one in the water. You're actually in a little bit of a less like of a rush to get back anyway, because you can't be in less a rush when it's pumping. That's the unfortunate paradox.
How many
Have
were
you
on
have
your
you
boat?
been?
Sorry,
There
how
was.
many were on your boat?
Sorry, there was 10 of us, 10 surfers.
Oh, yeah, even more so.
Did you rotate, or was there a gentleman's with a gentleman's agreement, or was it just 10 frothing to get there?
We were like all levels, so like we were all just sitting on different parts of the wave. Like there were some people just like on the inside that just rolled out of it. Then they had some people on the main peak that would make the section. It was like, I don't know, it was a perfect rotation. Like nobody lacked a wave count, and if somebody lacked it, we just made sure they had some waves. So easy.
Yeah,
It's pretty
it was
easy when
pretty
it's
good. I
only
mean,
you.
yeah, the trip I did before, there was definitely one or two people who were like really keen, who would start paddling around and all the rest of it. And if you're at a spot with just you and your friends, you're a bit like, mate, have a day off.
Yeah.
Come on. And yeah, this time there was none of that. Like everyone was really good, and also like we had surf coaching, which I assume both of us actually need quite heavily. And it was good because he was definitely like, right, make sure everyone gets their waves, like, try and get each other into the right kind of waves as well. So it was really good. They made sure people got their waves.
Yeah, that's cool.
Was that
Oh.
on the spot coaching, or did you have video coaching as well?
Yeah. So we had do you know that the South African guy, Shannon Ainsley?
No, but has he got a YouTube sort of thing?
Yeah,
He
he
does
does
now.
travel.
He's
Maybe I do.
yeah.
Google him.
Yeah, Google him. He's the first
Yeah.
he's the only person to be attacked by two great whites at one time.
Yeah,
He's got a
survived it.
mad video
I
on his
do know.
YouTube.
Yep, I do. I know who it is.
Yeah. So he was on the boat, and he filmed 2 hours a day, or like always the best session of the day. And then in the evening, like by about 7, when you're absolutely knackered and you've had a beer or two in you, then they show you the evidence.
Here you go, Johnny.
You go, fuck, it
And
looks better
funny.
than that. Well, you missed my best one. Where is it?
Yeah. No,
I'd be offering
funny.
a lot of money for them not to video me. I'd be like,
No, but
it's funny as well because the first day, like, so he sits you down. He's like, right, bro, what do you want to work on, bro? And everyone is like, oh, my top turn, my cutback, all this shit. And then the second day he films you all and he's like, right, this is how you build a house. You start with the foundation. And like, for me, it was like, you got to fix your pop-up.
it's really a mirror, when you get filmed on surfing, it's really like looking into a mirror and you're like, oh shit, do I really look like this? Like, this is it?
yeah.
Yeah.
What was it about your pop-up then that he wanted to fix?
Oh, it's a few things I've always known. Like
what specifically?
I hang on to the rails when it gets steep. I'm a real rookie there.
Okay.
And at the end, I got hands flat on the board, stepping through a lot, and just taking your time because sometimes, you see it, right? People hanging onto the rails, they try and pop up too early, and it's just a shambles. And by the end, he was just like, take the time, get the hands flat on the board, keep yourself higher up the wave. And it is crazy the difference it makes. Like even coming back now to Portugal and surfing, like I think for Bram and I, like the difference has been tremendous.
Yeah, but it's also like you get like filmed that day on that wave, you get analyzed in the evening, and the next day you're just on the same wave again, like it's pumping for the next 6 hours. So you can just like repeat whatever they say. Like, you put like a metal sticker on your board, and like for me it was like right arm because it's just hanging around somewhere it shouldn't be hanging. And then like the moment you're surfing, you look at your nose and you're like, oh my God, right arm. And then suddenly you start doing it and you start feeling it because it's the same wave every single day, just you and the crew. Like it's mad. I still can't believe it. It's madness.
What was your best session then? What was the best, like what conditions was the best session?
I think the best one overall we had was probably Casa Bruno, and we stayed there for like 2 days or something. We stayed there.
Yeah.
We
had my birthday, and so the 2 weeks before they hadn't had a day without wind, and then on July 2nd we woke up and it was glassy, and it was glassy all day long. So we surfed like 3 or 4 times that day, and that wave was really nice. Like it started off like a nice drop, like a nice takeoff, and then you could do a turn, and then it would kind of slow down a bit, and then it would like wrap around the island, and then it would run off down the line again. And so that wave was really, really fun.
Was it a right or a left?
All right.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm coming.
Best.
I'm coming.
All right.
You're on.
They were They were like, "Oh, you guys want to go surf our left?" I'm like, when there's like 2 empty rides, I'm like, that's really not tempting, you know, like really not like.
I can't
And
imagine if Darren and Bram are on the same trip with
Yeah.
the wave count. Like, I don't know if it'd be dragging you two out of the water, I reckon. Like,
how big was that
How big was
that
what?
session?
the waves.
Like
Most,
head high, mostly like shoulder to head high, like properly, not
Yeah.
too big, not too small, not
Mm.
too scary, not too easy. Like it's really like accessible for every level surfer that wants to work on something. It's not like pinching lips or like it's shallow at some parts, but that's probably everywhere if you're surfing on reef.
Yeah.
So for the rest, it's really, even when it gets bigger, it's really nice. It's really not heavy, scary.
So before you left, I'm assuming you've been checking forecasts or asking the guys you going what they think it's going to be like to try and sort out that never-ending question of what boards you should take. Did you know what it was going to be like? Did you imagine what it was going to be like, or when you got there, did they say, "Hey, it's going to be really good"?
Like the week before or the 2 weeks before us, there were some movies posted from like endless storms. Like it was like, you know, the guy said like, "Oh, we never had a storm like this before that long." I'm like, "Oh my God, imagine we're on this boat, dude, and like it storms." Never been on a boat for longer than like 5 minutes before anyway. So I'm like, what's it gonna be? But then like they say like, okay, you take like a bigger board for when it's or a bit smaller or you're a bit tired. So you take like a mid-length kind of thing, like just, you know, to get into it. And then I took my standard shortboard because I want to kind of progress on that or work on that. Like, you know, I have funky boards and I have a funky surf, so let's just fix that surf on a normal board and then go back to funky boards after. So, and then just a twin fin. I took that. So 3 good boards, just perfect.
Yeah, but it was not. We took a couple of mid lengths though, and that was really nice to have in the bag because it just meant like, especially the start of the trip when you've just got off the plane, you want to go for a surf, or also like if you're tired or something, just have a slightly bigger board sometimes was really good. So yeah, 3 boards. We split a couple of board bags between us. So yeah, it's good.
Your boards always going to arrive safely in those board bags as well.
There you go. There's the plug. Daz, have you been on a boat trip? Have you been down there or to the Mental
I went to the Maldives. But I stayed on land too. Where was it?
Where'd you go?
Cokes.
Yeah.
Which I got a banging swell the first day I was there, but I was kind of unimpressed. I think it was a swell directional thing where, like, it's really, I don't know if you've been there, but the outside section is kind of okay, and then it just really freight trains. And for 3 days, I saw various boats over at the left. What's that again? On the other side of the channel.
Is that honkies or sultans or
no, chickens. And
chickens? Yeah.
And there was this older guy that I know from here who told me, "Oh, it's just going off." And I actually went over the next day, and that was actually a better wave. But then the swell sort of stopped, so I was kind of. But I'm not good on boats. I've always wanted to do one. I went to the Mentawais as well, where I was on land. But how did you sleep on the boat then? Is it up and down, or like they say, or?
Yeah, it's pretty. It depends where you kind of park. But pretty. I mean, pretty good though. Like I suppose since I was a kid, I've always slept in cars and all the rest of it, so I've always been good. There was one guy on the boat who got a bit sick, but I think otherwise everyone was pretty good with it.
I guess 6 hours a day in hot surfing minimum, and you just cactus.
You're done anyway. But like what you were saying though, Darren, it's interesting because we did a trip there 12 years ago, and we had a boat, and the captain only wanted to stay around cokes, chickens, sultans, ninjas, all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, I came back, and I suppose I felt a bit like you, like it was really fun, but maybe a bit underwhelmed. I was like, we flew all the way there and we spent all this money on the boat, but wherever you'd go, like another couple of boats would turn up, or there'd be people in a land camp or whatever else. And you'd end up with sort of 25, 30 people on a peak, and you're like,
it's not fun, is it?
No, I'm like, I could stay in Portugal for that. And doing this, it definitely cost a bit more money, but it's one of those where you're like, well, to your point about the wave count and all the rest of it, it definitely makes sense to go a bit further, you know.
But if it costs a bit more, but the experience is 10 times better, it's kind of like a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you feel more
There anyway.
comfortable as well? Like more comfortable with the fact that like you're in a lineup with 10 people that you're on a boat with that you're spending 10 days with, like, so whereas like you could be rocking up to a peak, there's 40 people, and you know, like sometimes you rock up and one of them's Shane and Jackson Dorian or like whatever. Like, did you feel more comfortable knowing that?
Yeah.
Well, we had a few sessions in the beginning. The first session and the last session you do like around the airport. So then you're like in a full lineup. So then you're like, you don't have to read the lineup, who's making a section, who's not making a section. But if you're with the same people from the same boat, like on empty peaks the whole time, you kind of know who surfs how or who makes it or who not.
Yeah.
And then also in the beginning, it's a bit like touchy-feely, like, you know, everybody in the lineup. But like after day two, you know everybody. So you know how they serve. Actually, we miss sets to shout people into waves. Like it's just this kind of, you know, fun
Yeah.
vibe. So there's no snaking needed. Like everybody gets waves. It's fun.
Well, it was funny. The first surf I had back here last Tuesday, like we go back to the spot we surf here, and there was these two Portuguese lads, and they were just always paddling up the inside, always to the peak. And you're a bit like, listen, mate, I get it. You're a much better surfer than me. No problem at all. Good for you. Enjoy it. But yeah, certainly when you have those days, you're like, oh, that's why I did a trip like that. Because sometimes, you know, sometimes I'm sure, like when you, it's easy to get a bit over it with surfing when you kind of have that going on. But
Yeah.
to sort of get that like jolt into the side of like 10 days of really good surf, it's really good for the sort of surf brain.
Yeah. Yesterday morning I surfed Fistral. I got up, I thought I'd beat the crowds, got up, walked the dog really early, got out. There was like 200 people. I was like, what is going on? And then it's
Surf
mad.
staffed.
And then today, surfing this afternoon, it's like it's pretty bad today. Like, or I think it was still fun, but like for normal Cornwall and stuff. And like wave of the day came through, and I took a slightly longer. I took a 6/8 album Townsend out, and I was like sat perfectly came to me, and I took off on this right, and this belly boarder just faded me as hard as you could fade someone possible. But I reckon he was 7 foot, like, and massive. And I was like, I can't say a thing here, he'll just drown me. And so yeah,
Pulled up.
yeah, pulled off hard, like like waved him in, and then so I could do with some 10 people in a lineup, perfect right now.
So when you say you guys had 10 people, was how far out did you plan this trip, and did you know these other people, or was it you two and then there were various unknowns?
So we got a Norwegian friend called John Jacobson who was the guide on the trip, and I think he's done 6 trips, and now he's gone from enthusiastic guest to guide because he knows the spot so well. And he's definitely all about good times. And so he sent out a text last year like, hey, I'm getting a crew together who wants to come. So then a friend of ours had a birthday, so I said, right, I'll go. So it was me, him, and then he had another friend, but we didn't know anyone else. And then I think Bram, like a month or 2 ago, Bram was painting the house of one of the guys who runs the trip, Dale, one of the guys from Renegade. And then he's like, oh, there's a spot just come up on the trip. Someone broke their ankle. It's yours if you want it. Yeah. And then, so yeah, there was 4 of us who knew each other, but otherwise the other 6 we'd never met before.
And you haven't sent any pictures to the dude with the broken ankle?
we tag him in every photo.
It is funny the way before you go on a trip like that. Like I was playing football in the garden with my son, and I nearly rolled my ankle. And for that 2 weeks before, I was like, do not do anything. Like just wrap yourself in cotton wool. Don't get injured. Don't do anything.
I had a Swiss skis team come and stay with me last week, and one of the guys came the second day, and I think he went back for an MRI like halfway through the week because the day before he came, he did his knee.
Oh,
well, I'm dropping the poddy tomorrow, so we haven't actually spoke about that. But me and Darren on the when we last spoke about the Olympics and the fact that
Mm.
Fast went on the huge day and just surfed, and we said like it's pretty risky and stuff like that with the Olympics around the corner. So it's funny that we was just talking about it when we did.
Yeah. Hey, so you spoke about it cost a little bit before. I like not just to imagine things, to potentially calculate it, and I'm assuming some of the people that listen to us as well. Can you give me a figure on what it costs you, the trip? Like,
Yeah. Flights from Lisbon to Mali, I think they were 1,200, but I think if you'd have booked it closer to the date, like a few weeks ago, there was some for like 700-800. It's also cheaper if you fly from the UK. Like I think from the UK, it's like £700-800 to Mali. And then the boat itself, what was it, Bram? Was it $3,500 or $3,800?
I don't remember. Like,
yeah,
I forgot
something
that
like
number after the
3,000.
experience.
I forget what it was, but something like 3,500, 3,800.
okay, because
which in
Mentawais was always 3K for 10 days as well. I don't know if it's gone up now.
well, yeah, it's one of the, as I say, a friend of mine was like, oh yeah, but I could go on this other boat and it's €800 cheaper and this, that, and the other. And I don't know. I mean, Daz, I know you've got kids and that. For me, as you get older, it's less about the money. It's more the time commitment that you're saying to your family, like, I'm not going to be with you. So if you are going to do that, it's like invest even more and get the best experience, because if you're going to spend 10, 12 days away from your wife and kids, it's like, it's got to be worth it, you know?
Well, we
Plus,
did
if
the
you
calculation.
also break it down as well, that's 80 quid a day to surf with 10 people. Like if someone said, right, you pay 80 quid extra, but there's only going to be 10 of you. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yep.
Good point.
And we also calculated, no, Johnny, how much time in the year it would be if you want to spend 10 days on a boat. It's what, how much percent? 3%? If you want to sell it to the family?
I think it's under 3% of your year is on a boat.
Only need 3%. The rest of the 97 is all yours. That's a good selling point.
It's funny because we said, right, who wants to come next year? And everyone was like, well, I have to start the petition with the wife now. And we were just breaking it down. Well, it's only 3% of your year. So if you get political about it, it's 3% of this, it's X% of our GDP in this family. There's plenty of ways of making a good argument for it.
You just got to start doing the dishes and the washing the minute you get back.
I've started already.
Getting the good books.
I've started. And what she doesn't know is I've started a little tally on my phone. So when I drop the news and she kicks off, I'm gonna be like, hold on.
There's data.
This will be better for our relationship because
every coffee we had out, every time I done the washing, every time I mowed the lawn, like I would charge someone like 20 quid to mow their lawn, so I'm adding that up.
Well, you got to minus your actual food costs that you're going to have when you're back home as well, because the fact that you're there eating means you're not eating back home. That's all included then, is it? That's is that 3 meal? That's three full meals a day, or three meals plus buffet, or including drinks?
That's everything.
No drinks.
It's everything you can eat, but no drinks.
Not including alcohol.
No.
Free water?
Yes.
Free water.
Yeah.
Free coffee, free tea. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it is funny that.
How much for a bottle of beer?
What was that for? I think it was $4.
Oh, bargain.
But I mean, after you have 2 beers, you're so cooked anyway. It's like there's not much.
Yeah.
But it is interesting because, like, I don't know. For example, if you go to France or you come down here to Portugal, whatever you want to do, and you go on holiday, all the like general kerfuffle of like, right, where are we going to go for breakfast? Okay, we'll go there, and that will cost €15 a head. And then you want a fancy coffee with almond milk, fucking next thing you know, and then it's lunch. Then let's get a cocktail, and cocktails now seem to cost €12 to €15 wherever you go, and it's like pretty quick. You can spend that $3.5 without even blinking.
Yeah,
and you get to surf with closeouts with 50 people.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. I was going to say, how is it up in France at the moment? Is it busy? Is it chaos? Or
it hasn't been, actually. It's been a relatively quiet year, which everyone seems to say across Europe. People are struggling in the tourism, and And if you're not surfing a couple of the main peaks, it actually hasn't been too bad as opposed to previous years. So I was wondering I wonder what it's like then in the Maldives. Did they say that was exceptional, that you guys were alone?
Well, yeah, they did. They banned Israelis down there as well. And they said,
I read
I
that.
don't know. I spoke to someone who lives around your way there and who usually goes quite often. And he was saying that there's been so much trouble. They think that a lot of non-Israeli people have stopped going to the Maldives for the time being because there was just so much hassle in the water. But now they've banned Israelis from going there. But they don't care about Russians. Let me tell you that. There's Aeroflot planes wherever you want to go down there,
Mate,
Dubai. It's so funny.
they love it. Whatever.
Money has no loyalty.
You gotta go somewhere.
Exactly.
There was a Russian girl. Funny you said there was a Russian girl and her brother at Cokes when we were there, and well, on the island, and she was there for. She was going to be there for like 4 weeks, and they were staying at the like best hotel at the front, and
wow.
she was getting coaching every second day as well. And then she was asking me about Australia because she was going to go. I guess her dad was an oligarch or whatever. But they're keen on surfing now.
Yeah. Oh,
Did you have one? Did you have one on the boat?
No, we didn't have any. No. We had what did we
Imagine.
have? We had a couple of Scottish, English,
Some English, Norwegian.
couple of Norwegians, and a Swede. Yeah, Swede. It was a good, very good group. So
Nice.
you should start an insiders boat trip next year.
Who was the funniest? Who was the funniest guy on the boat?
It's probably Bram because he's as I say, he's definitely got a lot of energy. And,
Untapped
yeah.
sources. Untapped sources.
when we were all resting, I think Bram was there putting holes in people's boards just so he could fix the boards again. He's got that amount of energy when you're stuck on a boat with him. Yeah.
That's it.
The
Motivated
Insiders
and
boat
board
trip
fixer.
2025. It's got to happen. I feel like it's just got to happen.
I'm not going to say I can't come. That's for sure.
I know what you're
Already.
like.
Already.
You tell me
When-
multiple times you can't come and then still come.
When did you go? When did you go then? Was it the start of June, mid-June, or you
Yeah,
just...
28th of June until the 9th of July.
That's a pretty good window.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That's prime swell season as well for them, isn't it?
Bumping
Yeah.
season.
Yeah, and it's also when Europe starts to, I don't know, well, it depends which market you work in, but it's when a lot of Europe starts to put the auto reply on, give up on the emails.
Yeah. That's like 11 months a year in Portugal.
Yeah.
Did you introduce these guys, Matthew, at the start?
I did.
And did you introduce what their roles are?
I did not.
There you go. Can you guys tell me? Can you guys tell me what you do in a professional capacity?
Yeah, John, you go ahead.
So I work at DB. So the sort of travel lifestyle brand with which we make surfboard bags, which you gentlemen have been so nice to do a giveaway with us with. I've worked for them for about 3 years. I was at Nike before that in the US for about 10 years. So we used to surf and snowboard over in Oregon. So I lead the marketing team at DB, which is a company based between Oslo and Stockholm. So I spend a bunch of time up there in between there and obviously here at home in Portugal. And then Bram is half a mile up the road, right next to Pescador in Riedmar, just up the street.
Right next to the HQ of restaurants, yeah. No, I run a renovation company here in Ericeira. I do all sorts of renovations here with my costume with the company. And then like house management for people that have rentals here, like all kinds of like trying to navigate their way through the Portuguese like paperwork system, which is pretty hectic. So yeah, doing all sorts of things. And then on the side, through John, I got a hookup at DB. I do all the retail installations, like trade shows, like installations in shops. I try to do a lot of part in that and try to, help the company built all the displays in Harrods and Selfridges and all the places that we go to, Printemps, Paris. It's been a really, really fun mix the last years with those two combined.
How do you see the travel market coping at the moment with what I'm hearing is a little bit of a European downturn?
Yeah, it's interesting. We definitely see it with some of the bigger retailers, I would say. I think travel is the last thing, from what I can tell, the last thing to be affected. People still want to travel, but I think there's maybe just a bit of hesitation on spending at the moment. Just when I see across the board.
And where they travel?
Sorry?
And where they travel as well? There's so many new markets opening up with Morocco coming on.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, but it seems like people are still trying to travel through the summer. But I mean, I also hear a lot of people now, especially even in Scandinavia and stuff, where there's also a little bit where it's like, it's so nice in some of those countries. Like we went down to, where did we go? Alicante last summer to see my uncle who lives down there, and it was like 45 degrees. And I think some people are like, you know what, I'll stay a bit closer to home at the moment. So, but I definitely see a bit of there's definitely, and it may also be interest rates have caught up with people as well. So I think people who've got a loan on a house or something, a mortgage on a house, that high interest rate has probably caught up with a lot of people right now as well.
It's funny, in England, the last, say, like 2 or 3 years, it's been that travel's been hit really badly, like overseas, and there's been this boom in Airbnb market in England. And I don't know whether it's like coincided with the fact that it's like been a hellish kind of summer so far. Well, but Airbnb in England right now, in places, not in the obvious places like Newquay and stuff, still fine, but in the like semi less obvious places, they're really, really struggling because a lot more people from England are going abroad again this year, from what I'm hearing. So
yeah, that's the same sort of trend that's happening here, and as well, where like our group have been working with big camping grounds for the past few years, and they'd pushed heavily into like upper market mobile homes, and now I think the reality's come back that they don't have enough like naked camping like spaces where people just want to be able to pitch. Because if you're going to go to a campground, you'd rather like put in €500 for the week, pitch your tent, than 2.5K for a mobile home when you're still actually on a camping ground.
yeah.
Yeah.
I also think this year, especially in Europe, the Euros has a huge effect on people's behavior and things like that, because from what I believe, football is the biggest sport in Europe by a long, 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 long way. And like a lot of people who aren't really into football get a lot into football when the Euros come around.
Did you
And
see
German is the main expat, so it's basically 1+1 is still 2. Apparently the Algarve was empty this summer. It's crazy.
the stadiums didn't look empty, did they, in the European Cup?
Nah.
So when Wes sent me through a code so that I can be an all-star and get myself a DB backpack, which is in my bedroom, actually just waiting for me to use it properly. I noticed how much equipment you have that's related to photographers and stuff like that. Is that because, like, from the start when it was created, they saw the big trend in how many people love taking quality photos these days?
A bit, but it's always like, if you go back to any, like I come from snowboarding, you guys from surf, like any big name snowboarder will have grown up with a photographer who kind of documented their journey. And so anytime you work with anyone in any of these spaces, surf, skate, snow, whatever else, there's always going to be a photographer with them. And the photographers quite often and the filmmakers are the ones who kind of can shape culture quite nicely in the shadows a little bit. And so we always plus also there's a couple of people who work in the company who are very involved in the photography world. So it's always been super natural to play into that photography space because there is such a dedicated community there. And it's also one, you know, if you want to name how many good surf brands there are, there's, you know, you could keep going till the cows come home. If you want to talk about how many good photography brands there are, it's a much more limited number.
That was a good way to carve out like a bit of a niche in stuff in equipment that can protect expensive equipment.
Yeah, exactly. And like the luggage we made, was made primarily in the beginning for photographers, because one of the issues a lot of photographers would have is like if you go to an airport and you roll through, before people carry all their lenses and all the rest of it sometimes in Pelican cases, and then if they make you check it, it comes out the other end and you're like, oh, there's a Peli case, and you know there's roughly 20 grams worth of kit in there. But if you have something which looks like a regular piece of luggage, a suitcase, etc., it's a bit more stealth. And you know, obviously keeping hold of your gear is the most important thing, and keeping it protected.
Yeah, I mean,
Matthew?
yeah, like obviously it makes complete sense, and the photography side of it as well. It also goes hand in hand. You know, you've got if you've got people on a trip and the surfers or the athlete is like raving about how good these bags are, but the photographers are like, "Well, I don't have one," and they're struggling and got Peli cases and stuff. Like it kind of like slaps you in the face of there's something to be needed to be worked with that as well.
Yeah.
What's the next big travel innovation coming to us then?
You mean from us?
Yep.
Oh, this week. I tell you,
Not from Nike.
There's a guy who works on our team who was he was pro growing up in Norway, and I don't know how long he's been going on about making golf travel bags. But I think like this week we're going to do a story on Instagram, and I think that will be the next area we push to. I mean, this year we made an art bag. We actually just made a pizza bag for there's a sneaker store up in Paris called Starkow, and they've got a pizza shop adjoined to it called Sonny's. We made them a pizza delivery bag. Yeah, we made an art bag, we made a skate bag, but yeah, I think golf is the one that everyone keeps banging on about. So we'll see if we can get there.
Yeah, the golf one's huge.
Yeah,
you can get it right.
Well, it is a huge bag to start with, isn't it?
Yeah,
exactly.
What the skate bag I thought was pretty genius because I mean I think all of the pieces are great, but I thought the skate bag was really good. Like, and again, like it kind of ties in with the same market. You've not like just seen a gap and gone, oh, we're going to go into it. It's still within like the board sport realm, and it's quite core. I'd say as well, like the thing that DB have done that's like kind of different is like your pack heavy chase light series is phenomenal. Like, you know, I'll be completely honest, I'm a bit naive. I wouldn't know who your biggest competitor is, but I'm pretty sure they're not doing that.
Like, it's a bit different kind of. I mean, the competitor piece is a bit different by market. So like one thing I'll say is we're not trying to become, you know, if I look at surf, it's like we're not trying to go and be the next Quicksilver, or we're not trying to be the next Burton in snowboarding or whatever else, but just identify the niche that, or the problem that needs to be solved. So for example, with surfing, it's always been traveling with surfboards. With skateboarding, it's really an interesting one because so there was a woman I used to work with at Nike, and she handled a lot of the skate team business for us. And I called her because she's a great photographer as well. And I was like, oh, let me send you some bags. And she was like, why aren't you guys making a skate bag? And I was like, as someone who isn't a skateboarder per se, I have the biggest respect for skateboarding. And I'm very much one of those people who's like, yeah, we're not cool enough to do that. No, we couldn't do that. You know, and I suppose it was the same when Wes got us into surf. It's sort of treading very respectfully into places and trying to just make the best damn product you can. And then if you do that, I feel like at least people know that you've gone to the effort of that. You're not trying to come in and just, you know, make a t-shirt with a different logo and sell it to everyone, because it's like that offers nothing to the culture. But if you can do something that helps people, that's definitely the sort of, I would like to think, the thing that can just help you stand out a little bit differently, you know.
Yeah,
It's pretty.
and the same philosophy goes into your like pack heavy chase light series as well.
Yeah.
You're not just making it for the sake of it. You want to make it and make a good series that offers something.
But yeah, and some of that stuff is like, so we do that. We do those online workshops every month, the Creative Exchange. And part of that is, we sell backpacks or surf luggage or suitcases. And the reality is, like, as much as I wish it wasn't this way, most people buy one every year or one every 2 or 3 years. So then from a marketeer's standpoint, you need to think, okay, well, how can I keep people engaged with this company who are trying to sell products to people, knowing they're not going to buy something for the next 18 months. So then you have to say, okay, right, what are all the touch points? And it could be content, it could be events, it could be having people like Bram show up at a store and meet people and stoking people out. It's always like, what are all the different things you can do to keep people engaged? And it's interesting. I'm always amazed that more brands don't do this because, when, like, for example, when I get a podcast from you guys, it comes in the inbox and I'm like, oh, there's those guys again. And it's funny that more brands don't do more editorial content because it takes time. It takes people like you two to sit here on a Sunday night and give your evening to it and put it out. But it's the way to keep people engaged with brands.
Well, that's it. When me and Dad started this, I remember like vividly saying, if I'm doing this, we have to be consistent. That was all. That was pretty much all I said. Is I don't care what we talk about, who we talk to, what we do. Is we have to do the best we can to get one out a week. And I think we're like overall. This is episode 108. I think 109, and I think we're about 4 weeks behind being one a week for every week we've been running.
We're consistently good at talking, that's for sure.
Yeah, but it's happy to receive it in the inbox every week. But like what John said and what you guys also say, it's like for me as an outsider looking into like your brand as the insiders or like DB, it's like a community. Like your brand is only as strong as your community. And I feel DB or like the insiders, you form like a community of people, like-minded people who are all looking in the same direction kind of. And like that's what makes your brand strong because everything you will do, they will kind of follow you in there because they're like, oh yeah, it's by DB or it's, something like this. So that's kind of what you're doing.
Well, it's like if for example we do a 2025 boat trip and it's an insider, I'm still pushing.
Not even if.
Well, when?
Yes.
Well, obviously it'll be 2025. That's
what I've experienced is through doing the poddy is I meet someone that I've never met in person before, never spoke to before, but they've listened to an episode or all the episodes, and they go, "Oh, remember when you spoke about that?" And suddenly you're like, "Holy shit! Like this is weird," but it's like you know that person, like you've got an insight into how me and Darren are.
I can't remember the Bradley episode personally.
That's my favorite one ever.
Hey, quickly before because I'll forget it. I've got ADAH. Geordie Smith's DB, correct? Still is?
Yes. Yeah, he invested in DB actually. And
have you got any other athletes in the Olympics? Because he's in the Olympics.
That's a good one. I actually texted Wes this week, so we want to do an episode of Pack Heavy Chase Light with him, and I was like, you've got to text him before if he goes and wins the Olympics. I don't want him to fucking think we're only hitting him up afterwards. So yeah, Geordie's going. Who else? Craig, definitely not. Stage, no. Juliet, no. I think Geordie's going to be the one flying the flag.
Who's your pick then? Men and women.
Oh shit! You need to ask Bram that. Bram, give me a second. Ask Bram this first of all. Fuck.
Mate, I have no idea. For me, I'm still trying to figure out how this thing works. Seriously.
Just gotta imagine. There's at the start. There's 24 of them, and at the end, there's one.
Yeah, I got that far. Yeah,
that's how it works. So you got to pick the one at the end.
Well, if it helps, boys, it's going to be pretty. It's going to be pretty pumping.
It is. Have you looked at is there a forecast that we can look at?
Yeah, the forecast is pretty good. And the way it works is you can lose once in the early rounds. So Like there's some stacked early heats, but if
Yeah.
you it's like you get a second pop.
Okay. All right. I would say women. Have none of the young, like all these young girls in it, all the young
Yeah,
women
so
who've
yes,
been
yeah,
on
to,
the
Caroline
tear, are
Marks,
they in
so-
it or not?
No,
like-
no.
yeah,
There's
so
Not Caroline, but the other ones.
Katie Simmons is in it.
She's not on the
And
list I'm looking at.
Molly.
Molly's in it.
You're
Carissa
thinking
Bond-
what? Sierra Kerr and
No,
Aaron Brooks? No.
Caitlin.
Yeah,
Caitlin's
she's in it.
Okay, I'll go Caitlin.
Yeah, I think I did too, didn't I, Matt?
You did. I went for Hine.
Okay, Bram, throw a name up for us.
Mate, I'm
Women's.
gonna go Molly.
Let's go.
I think probably Wild. Go Wild. Molly Picklum. She's in
Molly
there, no?
Picklum.
Good shout. Yeah, great shout.
Yeah. I saw her chasing
Mm.
coconuts yesterday.
I saw that. She dropped.
Perfect. She's ready.
And on the men's,
men. Oh mate.
Men's men's is like stacked. You got John, you got 3 Brazilians. So I won't. There's basically 2 Brazilians with Gabby and Zhao Chanka. You got John
Mhm.
with Griffin. You've got Ethan Ewing and Jack Robbo. Callie Vast is in it.
Geordie Smith.
Geordie.
Geordie,
Al Cleland Jr. is in it.
Kanoa, Leo.
Yeah, Connor O'Leary. They're pretty much, unless I'm forgetting anyone.
That's insane.
Is Callie Vast from there?
He's yeah. He's surfing for France, but he's from Tahiti. Yeah.
Am I making this up? He's goofy, but he also surfs regular sometimes?
Yeah.
No, he's goofy and he does switch foot at Chopu.
Yeah. He's the guy
That's
who
what it was. That
yeah,
is
he beat
mad.
Kelly going switch. Yeah.
I'm trying to surf normal first.
I'd be surprised if he tries to. Well, you never know. Go switch in the Olympics. That would be first.
All right. We need someone who knows how to win a competition.
Mate, I'm going John full on. I feel that this chat is sponsoring his ticket to anywhere. Like, look at the 3
Yeah,
hats.
exactly.
We're just
All right, you go.
basically the head sponsor.
You go, John. I'm going to go Geordie, just because it will be good for the family name.
There we go.
Yeah.
Who have you two got?
I think I went John. I think Darren went patriotic, didn't you, Daz?
Yeah, I think I'm going Jack.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
but I'm on the fence because I can't see how Gabrielle can't win it.
I want Medina to win it,
He's on fire.
but yeah. No, it'll be a good event, and then into Fiji.
There's a huge. Did you see the boat? The boat's already there in the channel.
Yeah. It's
Or
like
I don't think it's in the channel. I think it must be around the corner.
it's a mega yacht, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Mm.
What's your opinion? What's your opinion, boys? Because we just asked you for the winners. I've heard a few people think that they should have done it in France. Matt was kind of on the fence because he's worried about people without experience having to take on the best left-hand gnarly reef in the world. What's your opinion on that? Do you think they picked the right place?
We on the boat trip, we actually had to get the map out to see where this place is, because we were like, everyone was like, it's just off the coast of Africa somewhere. It's nearly down in Australia.
No, I mean the Olympics.
Yeah, no, but where is Tahiti? Where is it
yes, it's between Australia and California.
That's
right
what I
in the
mean.
middle.
That's what I mean. It
French.
seems a long way away from France for a French
Paris.
event.
Yeah. Now I understand. Sorry, you're the satiricalness of what you're saying. I was being a bit silly.
I don't know. I mean, it is going to be insane. Like if it's big, and if you've not surfed anything. I mean, I have it here sometimes, right? Like you can, by mistake, you can paddle out here, and there's a nice rip. You can get yourself in the lineup, and if you're out there, and all of a sudden, like a massive cleanup set comes, and you are just like, right, get me back on the beach. I am done. But if that was being broadcast live and you were trying to take someone on to win a medal, oh, I don't. The only thing I hope is it just doesn't look like a car crash for surfing. You know, like the finals will be great. Like all the people who make finals will be amazing. But you just sort of those first rounds, you just hope that everyone gets through it and puts up a decent display.
How do you think they commentate like people getting zeros?
You think so? Like everybody has quite experience, because that's what was my question. Like you think that every random country can put their name in the hat, but apparently it's really
and it looks like they can all kind of surf, but there's a big difference between.
I don't know. The biggest worry for me is that, like, and this isn't a sexist thing, but you look at when I look at the female draw, like I worry. Like there's a German surfer called Rachel who I know's been putting some time in out there and stuff like that, but it's like a month or two's not like super long. Even like some of the other, like, Tim Elter's in it, and I can't imagine he's spent like he's an amazing surfer, but I can't imagine he spent like heaps of time at Chopu, like, and pumping chopes as well and stuff. So that's it for me. Is like they're obviously, like, they are all experienced surfers, but there is still, like, you see Felipe out there on a half decent day and he'll get a 0.
Yeah, but how different? How different is that, for example, to the first heat of the 100-meter men's sprint? And what was his name? The Jamaican.
Usain Bolt.
Yeah, Usain Bolt's next to a guy, and he beats him by 40 meters. I think it's not really that much different.
I think the biggest
running track.
The biggest difference
is kill you.
You haven't got like a 10-foot. You haven't got 10-foot chopes onto a shallow reef.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I suppose the guy still actually goes when the gun shoots, doesn't he?
Yeah, even like what was the guy? Was it Eddie the Eel? Who's the guy? No,
Eddie the Eagle.
Great film.
There was a swimming guy as well, wasn't there? And like he was terrible.
I remember.
The worst thing that could have happened is like a lifeguard would have had to just jump in and pull him out. Like he actually was never going to just drown. Like, whereas someone might at Chopes.
Well, the Australian guy won a gold medal in the ice skating, Stephen Bradbury.
Oh yeah, because they all fell over.
Yeah, but the guy he still made the final, and I think a couple of them fell over in the semi as well.
Yeah.
I think that some of it goes to your point. It depends who they have commentating. So, like, I don't know, some countries do. I don't know who the BBC have got this year. I know they have Tim Warwood from snowboarding, so he understands like most action sports. I don't know if he's doing the surfing as well. And it just depends if the sort of TV, if the broadcast feed want to make it look like, look at these daredevils, these people, and they want to hype it up as that.
I'd imagine they'd thrash them. You would think.
Yeah.
They're not backed by sponsors, are they? Because it's supposed to be an amateur, international event.
And this is actually quite an interesting point. This is something I've texted Matt about before, because one of the problems that I always feel like the WSL has is like the commentary teams are paid by the event, and it's sometimes you need to separate the event from the broadcast.
Yeah.
So you can have some impartiality. I think that's why like the Premier League does so good, because they pay to be able to commentate on the sport, so they can say whatever the hell they want. That's why Roy Keane can be so outlandish is what he says, or the same in the basketball. They can say exactly what they want, and they're not in the pocket of the event. So it'll be interesting to see with the Olympics if they can speak a bit more freely.
Yeah, it just happened in the Euros. Like in England, the BBC broadcast, and then Gary Lineker, Alan Shearer, and Michael Richards do a spin-off podcast. That's their own. It's nothing to do with the BBC.
Yeah,
and they say completely different things, like on the two shows, because they can say what they want, rather than having the shackles on. If whoever is listening wants to, me and Darren probably are available for a WSL commentary position.
I sent him through my CV last week.
I was going to say, why don't you guys do a watch along on YouTube, like a live stream watch along? There's people who do that in snowboarding, and you should do it on the WSL finals day, so we don't have to listen to the usual. Like, get YouTube,
be so funny.
YouTube live stream.
Honestly,
calling some people.
I think
it's so much easier said than done. That's the problem.
Yeah, we would definitely do it, except for when you realise that, like, for example, we've tried to do some commentary on the heats this year and stuff, and then you realise that actually both of us are in the worst time zones for literally every event. That
Mate, we rent a house in Portugal. I do the sound engineering, no problem. We just like by the pool, watch it, perfect.
Yeah,
the Lumi.
I mean, I'd love to if like I'm going to the Quicksilver event at the end of France, at the end of September in France, and I want to kind of try and do. It won't be a watch along kind of thing, but some like live reporting or whatever like that. Like I say, if I didn't have a 9 to 5 and could sit up all night, I would love to do it. But it's just like I said, we've done a few heats off of the back of your idea actually.
It's easier to sit up all night when it's Tahiti than if it's trestles, that's for sure.
I see that for sure.
But the point is right on the WSL and the commentary, and like when Kaipo's climbing ladders with helmets on, you just check out.
But they kind of didn't know it, like the Ain't That Swell guy, like Vaughn coming in.
True.
That was funny. Like how he interviewed Katie, like she was finally like having fun and laughing, and then they zoom out and he's just like with his feet open over a bridge because she's just too small. Like that's fun, that's what you want to see. Like
that's what people want to see, and that's usually what's most successful, isn't it?
Exactly.
Hey, I'm going to have to go, guys. I've got people coming in left, right, and centre. You probably can't see me behind me from the Village Festival. Huh?
Oh, they've had a couple of demis. They're ready to go.
Yeah, they're ready to go. Thanks very much for giving us your time.
Thanks, Dad.
And when can I have a crack at that quiver there in the background?
Like come down to Portugal, get yourself in some cold water down here,
we can come down and plan that boat trip.
What he's wearing at the moment? 3-2 still? 4-3.
I snuck into a 3-2 yesterday. We had a day without wind yesterday for once.
Oh man, you're meant to be English.
Mate, I'm out there in the morning with a hood and all the rest of it. Don't worry.
We're in board shorts or during the day in spring suits already, so that's it'll be short lived, but it's good.
That's nice. Right, I'm going to come up your way, Darren. I think at the end of August or early September.
Well, there's a cold pint waiting for you.
Look forward to it.
Thanks for coming, boys.
Thank you. Most appreciated. Take care.
Thanks, Matthew.